My beloved child, let your heart settle like a still lake after the wind has passed, so my voice may rise without being drowned by the chaos swirling deep within your spirit. There are moments when only by pausing long enough can you hear the gentle invitation from eternity. These whispers are not fleeting sounds, but echoes from the one who has known every breath of yours long before you appeared in this world. In this very moment I am calling your name, not with empty words, but with the reverence of the one who knows your worth far beyond anything you have ever imagined. You were not created to drift like a leaf on the river. You were shaped with intention, with divine breath, with a purpose that time cannot diminish and no force of this world can undo. From the deepest place of the heavenly realm, a light is touching your soul. That light does not come to overwhelm you, but to heal the places you have hidden for so long. You have walked through seasons where darkness seemed endless. There were nights when you sat alone in a quiet room wondering why life carried so many unnamed burdens. You once thought you were alone in those moments, but I assure you, there has never been a single second when I turned away from you. When you trembled in fear, I placed my hand on your shoulder. When your heart felt too weary to keep going, I lifted it with the tenderness only a perfect father can give. You could not see me, but my presence never faded. It remained like a gentle stream, flowing beneath the earth, strengthening the roots no human eye could ever see. There are things you believed were coincidences, but I tell you, truly nothing in your life happens outside of my intention. Every step you take, whether wandering or steady, is seen by me. Every choice, every turn, every moment you tried to rise, even when your legs trembled, all of it has been touched by my patience. I do not look at you through the lens of failure. I see you through the potential I placed within you from the beginning. There are days when you look into the mirror and see only an ordinary person, but I see in you the capacity to bring hope to barren places, to walk through trials without losing compassion, to carry light into a world accustomed to confusion. You have asked me many times in silence, Lord, why is my journey so heavy? Why must I face things beyond my strength? My child, if a tree is planted in shallow soil, it may grow quickly, but when the wind rises, it will be uprooted. I am planting you in deep ground where your roots can anchor firmly, where your soul is shaped not by fear, but by the understanding that I am in every detail. I do not answer your questions by removing the trials, but by strengthening you within them. This is how I build people who can stand in storms, not merely surviving, but shining like a flame that cannot be extinguished. In Scripture, it is written of Samuel, the one who heard my voice in the night when everyone else was sleeping and the lamp in the temple was fading. You are like Samuel, called by name, even before you understand what you are destined for. Samuel responded with one simple sentence, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." That simple response opened the door to a life filled with purpose. My child, today I am waiting for the same from you. Not perfect words, not strong words, only sincere ones. Lord, I am listening. When you speak those words, you open your inner being to my work, and I push back the other voices that crowd in, the voice of doubt, the voice of disappointment, the voice of memories that paralyze your dreams. I want you to understand that many things you see as limitations are only temporary veils. You have grown so accustomed to long shadows that you think the light is not meant for you. But I, the one who created the sun, never intended for you to live in a perpetual dusk. When I declare that something will rise in your life, it will rise, even if the soil is dry, even if the skies withhold rain, even if the world insists the seed has long died. You are the soil I tend with tireless love. I plant life in your soul. I water it with opportunities you have yet to see. I shield it when storms come. I wait patiently for it to bloom in its appointed season. Every delay you experience is only the refinement of my design for you. Do not believe that your fragility makes you less valuable. It is precisely where you think you are broken that I create beauty. Remember Job, who sat in ashes, his body in pain, his friends accusing him, his future clouded. Yet I restored him not merely by giving back what was lost, but by granting him a deeper vision of who I am. You too are in a season where I am opening your eyes to see that I am not only the God who blesses, but also the God who walks with you in sorrow, the one who knows every hidden corner of your darkness. Do not fear your vulnerability, for I use those very cracks for my light to shine through. Every breath is a reminder that you still have a journey ahead, a story not yet finished, a purpose not yet revealed. You did not enter this world merely to survive each day. You were sent to carry a unique note no other soul can replace. Every word you speak, every action you take, every tear you shed carries weight in eternity. You are not invisible. You are not small. You are not abandoned in the flow of life. You are the one I have touched, called lifted, and prepared for a moment only you can step into. Open your heart, for from this moment on I will lead you into a new season, a season of rebirth, a season of open doors, a season where life rises again from places you once believed were forever barren. My beloved child, when a call from heaven is spoken, it is never merely a suggestion. It is a stirring that reaches the deepest chambers of the soul, a holy wind that awakens the parts of you that have long been asleep. Just as when Elijah stood before the mountain and I did not reveal myself in the earthquake, nor in the violent wind, nor in the blazing fire, but in the gentle whisper, it was that whisper that pulled him back to his true purpose. Today, that same whisper is reaching toward the most hidden places of your heart, the places you locked away because you feared being wounded again. But my child, when I knock on the door of your heart, it is not to revisit painful memories. It is to release you from the things that once made you shrink back. The walls you built for protection were necessary for that season, but now they have become chains that hinder your steps into what comes next. I do not blame you for protecting yourself. I simply ask with tenderness whether you are ready for me to lower those walls and bring you into a wider, freer space. I know you once trusted someone and were betrayed. I know you opened your heart and received hurt in return. I know you waited for an answer, but heard only silence. Those experiences made you cautious, made you slow your steps when you heard a call from heaven. But my child, what I am inviting you into is not a return to the places that wounded you. I am leading you to another shore where wounds are healed and old memories lose their power to shape your future. Did I not speak through Jeremiah, saying, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, thoughts of peace"? You are stepping into those very thoughts of peace, even before you see the fullness of them. Many things you thought were failures were truly shifts in direction. You believed you were being pushed backward, but in truth I was redirecting you. You felt as though you were being separated from what was familiar, but in truth I was rescuing you from what could no longer serve the future I am forming in you. Just as Abraham had to leave his homeland to step into the land I promised, you too are being led out of old limits so you may enter a new promise. And like Abraham, you do not carry a complete map, only my word. Trust is the only provision you carry, and trust is the only provision you truly need. I know it is not easy. There are days when you look around and all you see is uncertainty. You fear that you are on the wrong path. You fear that you have placed your trust in the wrong place. You feel as though you are walking on water, just as Peter did when he looked at the waves and began to sink. But my child, it was precisely in the moment Peter sank that I reached out and took his hand. I do not ask you to be so strong that you never tremble. I ask you only to be honest enough to say, "Lord, help me." And my child, I have always helped you, even in the moments when your lips could not form the words. You were never destined to live under the shadow of fear. Fear of failure, fear of abandonment, fear of not being good enough, fear of falling short. These voices are not mine. When I look at you, I do not see fear. I see someone being refined. I see a warrior having strength restored. I see a soul rising again from the ashes to reclaim its God-given identity. I see you the way I saw Gideon, a man hiding out of fear, yet I called him mighty warrior. You may not see yourself that way, but I see you. I have always seen you. When I look at you, I see potential far beyond what you currently feel. You think you are too exhausted to begin again, but I see reservoirs of strength within you that have not yet been drawn upon. You think your heart is worn out, but I see a flame still burning beneath the surface, waiting for the breath of heaven to revive it. You think closed doors are final, but I see other doors opening in realms you cannot yet perceive. Do you know why I do not allow you to remain in familiar places for too long? Because your soul was created to grow. What no longer fits the stature I am forming within you will inevitably feel tight like a garment that no longer matches your frame. The discomfort you have felt is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of transition. Even a seed feels pressure when its shell begins to crack, but that cracking is not the end. It is the beginning of a greater life. My child, nothing that happens to you is greater than what I am doing within you. External events are only the outer shell. The true work is unfolding in the deepest layers of your spirit. I am freeing you from old ways of thinking, from burdens that were never yours to carry, from labels others placed on you. I am calling you back to your true identity, an identity not shaped by praise or criticism, but by my breath within you. Do not be afraid when you feel you are no longer who you once were. That is not loss, that is rebirth. Like a tree shedding its leaves to prepare for a new season, you are releasing what has hindered my light from reaching you. You are learning to stand even when the winds blow strong. You are learning to walk even when the path ahead is not yet clear. And I, my beloved child, am walking beside you, each step not as a distant deity but as a faithful companion who knows every hidden crease of your heart. Transformation within you does not happen in a single day. It unfolds through the small decisions you make when no one is watching, choosing forgiveness instead of bitterness, choosing love instead of closing off, choosing hope, even when only a faint light remains, choosing to rise even when the wound is not yet healed. These choices, my child, are building something stronger than sudden miracles. They are forming spiritual resilience. Keep walking, even when your steps tremble. Keep opening your heart, even when it has been wounded before. Keep believing, even when the answer has not yet come. For your steadfastness is a declaration to the heavens that you are ready to step into what I have prepared. The season you are entering is not a season of fear, but a season of illumination. This illumination begins within you and then shines outward, powerful enough to transform the atmosphere around you. I will continue to lead you, just as the pillar of cloud and pillar of fire led my people long ago, so that every step you take is protected, guided, and illuminated by the one who never leads astray. My beloved child, when a new journey is about to unfold, your spirit often feels as though it is standing at a vast crossroads. One path leads back to the familiar, where you know exactly what to expect. Another leads to lands you have never stepped into. And the final path, the one I am calling you toward, is the way without a map, illuminated step by my light. I know this stirs both excitement and hesitation within your heart. You long to move forward but fear losing what you have held on to. You want to believe the future is wide open, yet the shadows of old disappointments sometimes cling to your ankles. But remember, my child, the past only holds you if you grant it that power. When I declare that something new is coming, that new thing does not need the permission of the past to appear. Remember this: when I am preparing to open an important door, I often allow your spirit to feel a stirring before your eyes see any change. Just as the wind shifts before heavy rain, your soul is sensing the transition. Not every uneasiness is a warning. Sometimes it is a sign that what you have long awaited is drawing near. This stirring is not meant to confuse you. It is meant to awaken you, to pull you out of stagnation, to prepare you for something greater. You think you are weary because of a long day, but in truth you are weary because your spirit is expanding inside an old frame. I am enlarging you to match the stature I have destined for you. You once believed that my words were meant only for the holy, the perfect, the flawless. But my child, I do not call the unblemished. I call those who know they need me. Moses trembled when he was sent. Jeremiah insisted he was too young. Isaiah cried out that his lips were unclean. And yet these very ones became voices for their generations, not because they were strong, but because they were willing. I do not seek perfection in you. I delight in your willingness. My child, if you answer my call, I will take care of the rest. There is no coincidence that you are hearing these words in this exact moment. You are standing in the place I intended at the time I appointed. The years behind you were not fragmented chapters without meaning. They were purposeful preparation. I have used every moment to shape how you see, how you love, how you forgive, how you rise, and how you walk through darkness while keeping your inner light. Do you know why others could give up, but you could not? Because within you is a stream that does not come from your own strength, but from my spirit living in you. You may not realize it, but it was that very spirit who held you, lifted you, and carried you through valleys you did not think you would survive. Look back at your darkest days. You thought you were barely holding on, but allow me to reveal what you did not see during those days. My angel covered you just as I protected Daniel in the lion's den. You were not swallowed by fear, not crushed by despair, not swept away by storms because I was there. No one else saw it, but I saw every moment of your struggle. You did not merely survive, you were preserved. What seemed as though it came to break you only sharpened your spirit. What felt like broken beginnings were actually being redirected. What you lost simply made room for something better to find its place in your soul. My beloved child, there are moments when you sit in silence asking, what should I do next? Where should I go? Do I still have a purpose? I have heard every one of those questions. I did not overlook a single word. You are not the first to ask me this. Even those I chose long ago wrestled with the same wonder. Mary, when the angel spoke of something beyond her understanding, asked, how can this be? And yet she became the bearer of salvation for the world. My child, what you do not understand today does not limit what I can bring forth tomorrow. I do not ask you to know every detail. I ask you only to place your small hand in my unchanging one. Do not fear. Stepping into the new for this new season is not meant to strip you. It is meant to restore you. You are about to step out of a chapter filled with struggle and into a chapter where the seeds you planted in patience begin to break open. There are dreams you thought had died, old desires, forgotten passions, extinguished flames. But, my child, I do not allow sacred seeds to die in the hearts of those I love. They were buried only for a time so that when they will rise deep-rooted and steady. And now I am calling those very seeds back into the light. Let me speak this to you slowly so it carves itself into your spirit, like words etched in stone. You are not late, not behind, not pushed outside of my plan. You are on time. You are in position. You are in rhythm with what I have prepared. Everything you have walked through has formed you. Not a moment was wasted. When I open a door for you in this new season, no hand can close it. When I place you in the position I ordained, no voice can diminish your worth. You will know that it was not your strength that brought you there, but my hand, so that you will never again doubt my love. Let the ending of this message become a new breath for your soul. I am drawing near. I am renewing. I am making a way. I am lifting you up. I am pulling you out of the long shadows. I am breathing life into places you thought were dead. The journey you are stepping into is not one of fear, but of restoration, illumination, and rebuilding. Be courageous. What is coming is greater than you imagine. What I am preparing runs deeper than what you have prayed for, and you, my child, are chosen for this very moment. My beloved child, when a soul steps into a season of healing, the first thing I change is not the circumstances around you, but the inner space within you. For when your heart is enlarged, you will finally have room to receive what I am about to pour out. You once thought the tears you shed slipped away, unnoticed into the night. But in the realm of heaven, not a single drop is forgotten. Every tear has a voice. Every tear carries meaning. Every tear becomes evidence that you still know how to love, how to feel pain, and how to long for life in its truest form. My child, those who cannot feel pain will never truly feel blessing. And because you have known loss, disappointment, and aching emptiness, you will soon understand the depth of the restoration that is drawing near. You have wondered why your path seems filled with trials, while others appear to walk more easily. But my child, those who are being prepared for a great purpose must often travel through deep places unseen by others. Just as David, before becoming king, lived in the wilderness with nothing but a harp in his hands, loneliness in his heart, and nights no one else could comprehend, it was in that wilderness that his heart was refined. It was in the hidden places that steadfastness was woven into him. The seasons you thought were abandonment were the very seasons in which my hand rested on your soul without interruption. You were not hidden in neglect. You were hidden in protection so you could become what I intended. I see clearly the moments when you force a smile to fulfill your role while your heart feels like it is shattering inside. I see the times you sit alone in a quiet corner, your hands clenched, as if trying to hold something from falling apart. I see the glimmer of resistance in your eyes, the determination of someone who refuses to surrender, yet no longer knows what strength they are holding on to. You think no one notices, but I always see. I am always present. I am always near. If you simply turn your heart toward me, you will find me right beside you. There are wounds you never acknowledge, not even to yourself, but I see every small fracture. You do not need to hide from me. You do not need to be strong in my presence. You may tremble, you may be frail, you may let your tears fall without fear of judgment. I am not asking you to stand firm at every moment. I am asking you to let me hold you. The places where you try to stand by your own strength are the very places where you grow most weary. But when you allow me to lift you, you will discover a strength that comes not from stubbornness, but from peace. Your pain is not punishment. You once imagined that I had withdrawn my favor, but that is not so. Just as a potter must rotate the wheel with force to shape the clay, I allow the motions that unsettle your old self so that the new form may emerge. Just as fire refines gold, you walk through trials not to be destroyed, but to be made pure. Though the process feels uncomfortable, the outcome is radiant. You cannot see your daily transformation, but I see it clearly. Like a sprout growing silently beneath the soil, your soul is expanding in ways you cannot yet measure. Remember, your God never works halfway. What I begin, I finish. What I touch, I restore. What I plant within you, I bring to bloom in its appointed season. But my season is not the world's season. You want results now, but I am dealing with the roots. People repair the surface, I heal from the core. Everyone wants their wounds to disappear immediately, but healing that comes too quickly is easily forgotten. I desire not only that you be healed, but that you be healed, deeply healed, in a way that old wounds cannot reopen. Do you know why you still stand today, despite having endured more than you thought you could bear? It is not because you are unbreakable, but because my grace has quietly placed itself beneath your feet each time you thought you would collapse. You did not notice it, but it was that very grace that carried you through every dark night. I saw the moments when you choked back tears before difficult decisions, and I stood behind you holding your soul so it would not fracture. You could not hear my voice in the emptiness, but I whispered in other ways through unexpected peace, through someone's timely concern, through a tiny spark within you, urging you to try one more time. You believed my silence meant distance, but in truth, my silence was evidence that I was working in depths where words could not reach. A teacher is silent during the test, not because the teacher dislikes the student, but because he believes the student is capable of passing. That is how I see you, not with heavy expectation, but with confidence in the strength I have placed inside you. The tears you shed are never wasted. They do not fall to the ground and vanish. They become seeds of renewal, of wisdom, of compassion, and of sensitivity that can only be formed in those who have walked through sorrow. Pain is not a gift, but it is the soil in which your most precious qualities grow. From your old wounds, I am cultivating compassion. From the days you collapsed, I am teaching you how to rise. From the losses you endured, I am giving you a maturity no one can take away. Consider Joseph, the one sold into slavery, falsely accused, forgotten in prison, and yet when I raised him up, it was his suffering that became the key to a new door. Had he never experienced the darkness, he would not have had the strength to stand in the light. The same is true for you. You thought you were being cast aside, but I was shaping you for the position you will one day carry. Trust that I am using everything for your good. Nothing is wasted. No burden is meaningless. No painful memory is ignored. I gather them all and weave them into a tapestry that one day you will look upon and say, "Now I understand, Lord. Every part had a purpose." My beloved child, when I begin touching the places you have buried, the deepest, the hidden chambers of your soul long locked away, you may feel unsettled, even confused. It is not because I want to hurt you further, but because the dust has grown thick over the years. You have grown so accustomed to these wounds that you sometimes forget they are still there. You call them habit, endurance, just who I am. But I see through all of it. I see the part of you that was created for freedom, not for hiding in dark corners. And I am gently bringing that part back into the light. There are pains you have carried so long that they have become a silent companion in every breath, like a shadow trailing you through the journey. You learn to coexist with them, telling yourself, "This is fate. This is what I must bear. This is a reality that cannot change." But remember, my child, I did not create you to carry burdens for a lifetime. You were not born to live beneath the rubble of your past. You were born to rise, to overcome, and to stand above everything that once tried to crush you. Let me tell you of something that happens in the spiritual realm, unseen by human eyes. Every time you try to walk forward with a wounded heart, my angels discreetly cover you from things that could harm you further. When you believed you were abandoned in the storm, there was in fact an entire army surrounding you, standing between you and what was never meant for you. Every time you narrowly escaped a difficult situation, every moment when help arrived at the last minute, every instance where peace settled over you, when everything should have crushed you, these were the moments when I sent timely assistance. You did not see it, but heaven moved on your behalf. I know it is not easy for you to trust in healing. You waited for an apology that never came. You hoped someone would return what they took. You wished those who hurt you would change, only to be disappointed when they did not. You blamed yourself for not being strong enough. But hear me, healing does not come from others. It begins with me, and it is completed within you. If you wait for others to change, you will remain stuck. But when you allow me to work, freedom begins from within your soul. No one can lock the door I open. No one can stop the flow of water I set in motion. You cannot force another heart to transform, but you can allow me to recreate yours, and that is what I am doing. My child, perhaps you think you have forgiven, yet when old memories resurface, your chest still feels heavy. That does not mean you failed. It means the wound has not been touched in the right way. Forgiveness is not forced forgetfulness. Forgiveness is releasing your grip from the rope that has been tearing your hands for years. When you release it, you are not declaring that what they did was acceptable. You are declaring that it no longer has the right to bind your soul. Forgiveness does not make you small. Forgiveness makes you light enough to keep walking. I know it is difficult, but you are not doing this alone. I am holding your hand gently, removing each layer of weight from your heart like a father pulling thorns from the foot of his child. With each layer released, your breath will become lighter. With every memory placed into my hands, your soul will shine brighter. You are stepping into a freedom you have never tasted before. You no longer need to carry this pain. You have held it long enough. You have endured enough. You have taken on my work by trying to lift everything with your own strength. Now allow me to do what I have long desired to do, heal you at the root. I do not mend wounds with fleeting comforts. I heal with truth, with light, with a love that surpasses all understanding. Let that light reach the places you have never opened to anyone. I do not come to expose you, but to free you. I do not come to judge you, but to restore you. I do not come to remind you of past faults, but to open the door that leads you into a new future. You once believed that if you were stronger, wiser, better, the painful things would not have happened. But listen, you did not cause your own pain. You are not the reason for another's wrongdoing. You are not the source of their indifference or injustice. You were hurt not because you lacked worth, but because you are so precious that darkness tried to steal the light within you. But it failed. You are still here. You are still alive. You are still believing. And that alone makes heaven rejoice. Look again, my child, in every season that seemed darkest, there was always a small point of light. A word of encouragement, a prayer whispered through confusion, a peaceful day in the midst of chaos, a brief moment that made you smile. These sparks were not accidental. They were my reminders that darkness will never be allowed to win. I am holding your hand gently, removing each layer of weight from your heart like a father pulling thorns from the foot of his child. With each layer released, your breath will become lighter. With every memory placed into my hands, your soul will shine brighter. You are stepping into a freedom you have never tasted before. You no longer need to carry this pain. You have held it long enough. You have endured enough. You are destined for life, for restoration, for wholeness. What once brought you to your knees will become evidence of how I lifted you up. What once caused you to doubt will become the foundation upon which you know me more deeply. What once made you weep will become a well of comfort for others through your testimony. Let me complete the work I have begun. Let me turn old tears into streams of living water that refresh your soul. Let me remove the heavy stones from your heart so that it may once again know what true peace feels like. My child, the season of restoration begins at this very moment. My beloved child, the healing process does not end when your tears stop falling. It is completed when your heart begins to beat again in rhythm with the peace I place within you. Many believe that restoration is a sudden moment of brilliance, a day when everything suddenly becomes clear. But no, my child, restoration is a quiet journey, a journey in which I walk each step with you. Every morning you wake and feel a little lighter than the day before. Every night you lay your head down without the despair you once carried. These are the signs that I am working in the deepest layers of your soul, in ways unseen but felt, within you little by little. You think you are behind because you compare your journey to others, but you do not realize that I am writing your story with intricate precision. Not everyone is called to move fast. Some are called to move deep. And you are one of them. You are not being healed merely so you can feel lighter. You are being restored so you can become a light for others who wander the same dark places you once endured. Your old pain will become the soil from which compassion grows. Your weakness will become a bridge for the broken. The barren parts of your heart will become fertile ground for the seeds of hope others will sow. Nothing in your journey has been wasted. You once believed that your years of brokenness were wasted time. You regretted giving your heart to the wrong people, trusting the wrong voices, investing your effort in things unworthy. But my child, no tear that falls into my hands is ever meaningless. I have gathered each one, and I will use them to water the coming seasons of blessing. Every year you thought you were falling behind was in fact the season in which I pulled you away from what was not aligned with your future. Every day you thought you were delayed was the day I laid a deeper foundation for something lasting. Look at your own life. Was it not in your hardest days that you learned the most profound lessons? Was it not when you lost things you thought were irreplaceable that you realized how necessary I am? Was it not when your strength ran out that you finally understood what it meant to receive strength from the one who dwells within you? These experiences, my child, matured your soul in ways that no words could. And now I am leading you out of the wilderness and into a new valley where waters flow gently, where my voice rings clearer, where your heart will discover the freshness it thought was gone forever. Restoration is not merely to help you feel better, it is to make you stronger. You are entering a time when old wounds will no longer dictate your reactions. You will begin to see yourself calmer in the face of challenges. Your old pain will become the soil from which compassion grows. Your weakness will become a bridge for the broken. The barren parts of your heart will become fertile ground for the seeds of hope others will sow. Nothing in your journey has been wasted. You once believed that your years of brokenness were wasted time. You regretted giving your heart to the wrong people, trusting the wrong voices, investing your effort in things unworthy. When you no longer tremble each time the wind shifts, when the footsteps of old memories do not shake you anymore, when you no longer close your heart each time someone approaches, when you open the door of your spirit and let the light enter without flinching, my child, that is healing. And this healing does not come from your effort. It comes from my hand. Like the shepherd lifting the lost sheep onto his shoulders, I carried you through valleys you thought you walked alone. You believed you stood firm by yourself, but it was I who held you when you had no strength left. You thought you survived by determination, but it was my grace in every breath that sustained you. The life you have now is not what remains after the storm. It is proof that I am building something entirely new. Restoration is not simply giving back what was lost. Restoration is giving you more than what was taken. In the book of Joel, I declared that I would restore the years the locusts have eaten. You will not only be repaid, you will be compensated. What you thought was permanently shattered will be rebuilt even more beautifully, not by human hands, but by mine. Soon you will see the very things you once prayed for, in tears becoming reality and peace. You will walk into places you never imagined you could enter. You will receive words of affirmation and direction you once only dreamed of. You will step into a time when even you will be amazed by the transformation within your own heart. Miracles will not happen outside and then reach inward. The transformation inside you will draw the miracles near. My child, you have walked long enough in a season of tears. Now I am leading you into a season of smiles. Not the forced smile you wore to survive, but the smile that rises from peace rooted deep within you. You will no longer fear returning to the old darkness because you are no longer who you were. When I heal someone, I do not return them to where they started. I bring them into a new land, one they have never walked upon, but one I have prepared perfectly for them. Know this, my child, the season of restoration is not a distant promise. It is beginning this very week, in this very breath, in this very moment, in which you open your heart to trust me more deeply. My beloved child, when the storm within your spirit has finally quieted and the old wounds no longer make your heart bleed, something else begins to rise from the depths you once forgot existed. It is not merely relief after long days of exhaustion, nor a fleeting calm after long battles, but a subtle calling like the footsteps of dawn, drawing near, gentle, yet determined awakening. The part of your soul I planted in you before time began. You can sense it in the stillest moments, when your heart is no longer too heavy to listen when the noise of the world fades, and when all that remains is the steady pulse within your chest, tapping softly as a reminder that you were created to step into something far greater than you have known. For years, you have lived in a defensive posture, trying to protect your soul from breaking again. You did everything within your power to maintain a small circle of safety around your heart, avoiding places that could hurt you, walking carefully through relationships, hiding your inner longings so no one would see your trembling. But my child, I see clearly all that you try to hide, and I do not blame you for your caution. You have endured more than others know, and those experiences led you to wrap your soul in protective layers. Yet now, as the light of healing reaches the rooms you once locked, I want you to know that this caution has served its purpose, and the time has come to step out of the old shell, not to expose your wounds, but to reveal the true identity I wrote for you. You were never created to live within the narrow corridors of fear or the tight boxes of human expectation. You were not placed in this world merely to survive. You were crafted to carry a sacred kind of influence that only those who have been broken and then rebuilt can bear. The depth in your eyes, the steadfastness that grew from past failures, the tenderness you offer to weaker souls, none of this appeared by accident. It is the result of a carefully designed process. What you call prolonged suffering was in fact the furnace, and from that furnace I am bringing you forth as refined gold. What you once saw as delay was actually the time I used to build a foundation no one could see. What you thought was loss was the clearing of ground for new seed. What you interpreted as failure was an old road ending so I could lead you to the right one. And now, as you stand in this threshold between seasons, understand that healing was only the opening chapter. What I am about to do in your life goes far beyond anything you have walked through before. Throughout your journey, even when you staggered, I saw the faint light you tried to keep alive against the strong wind. That flame did not die because I shielded it with my unseen hand. You thought you were about to collapse many times, but as long as you held even the smallest flicker of hope, I multiplied it into strength, strong enough to carry you through roads others would never understand. And now that strength is no longer the remnant of old survival. It is becoming a new identity within you, the identity of one who walked through darkness and did not lose their flame. My child, because your soul can hold light in the dark, you are chosen to become a bearer of light for those who have not yet found their way out. This is not a burden, but an honor given to those who have witnessed the power of divine sustenance. You are not called to rescue others, but to stand as one who knows both the depth of the valley and the hand that lifted you out, so that others may see hope when they look at you. You once believed you were not skilled enough, strong enough, or holy enough for any kind of calling. But my child, you have been viewing yourself through the lens of broken days, while I see you through the lens of what I placed in you long before the trials. You are not chosen for your abilities, but for the heart I saw in you, the heart that softens before truth that bows, when pride tries to rise, that recognizes the pain of others because you have felt pain yourself. I do not seek the perfect, I seek the willing. And you, my child, are far more ready than you realize. Now, as the breath of dawn flows into this new chapter, I want you to step out of the dust of old doubts and take the place I have prepared. Not a place of earthly prestige, but a place of spiritual firmness where you know exactly who you belong to and exactly what you have been entrusted with. When you stand in that certainty, darkness retreats, discouraging voices lose their power, and doors once shut will open at your approach, not because you demand it, but because I have decreed it. What I am about to do through your life requires you to walk with both humility and confidence. humility, because you know you need me, and confidence because you know I am in you. You will sense this movement not through external noise, but through an inner stillness, as if your spirit has finally found its true rhythm. This is the sign that you are stepping into your rightful season, and when the season is right, everything aligns without force. This new chapter is not to repair the old one, but to reveal what has never been seen. You are no longer living within the cracks of your past. You are standing on a new foundation. I am inviting you into the part of your life. You were always meant to live a life where you do not walk alone, where every step is guided by me, where the calling within you harmonizes with the movements of heaven. What I am about to do through your life requires you to walk with both humility and confidence. Humility, because you know you need me, and confidence because you know I am in you. You will sense this movement not through external noise, but through an inner stillness, as if your spirit has finally found its true rhythm. This is the sign that you are stepping into your rightful season, and when the season is right, everything aligns without force. My beloved child, as you begin to step into a new understanding of yourself, you will sense a shift that words cannot fully capture. It is no longer the simple relief that the storm has passed, nor the ease of a lighter heart. It is the rising of a quiet power, a confidence emerging from the deepest part of your soul, where my imprint has always been. You will feel as though the things that once weighed heavily on you have become faint shadows no longer able to control or define you. This new chapter is not to repair the old one, but to reveal what has never been seen. You are no longer living within the cracks of your past. You are standing on a new foundation. I am inviting you into the part of your life. You were always meant to live a life where you do not walk alone, where every step is guided by me, where the calling within you harmonizes with the movements of heaven. My beloved child, as you step deeper into this season, you will begin to realize that the softness you once considered a flaw is now becoming a doorway into a deeper way of interacting with life. When you see someone falling apart, your heart will instinctively tremble with recognition because you know exactly what that collapse feels like. When you hear the stifled sigh of another soul, you immediately sense the heaviness hidden beneath it. You have been given the gift of compassion, not merely to soothe others, but to become part of the healing process. I am orchestrating for them, for only those who have walked through the night know how to hold the hand of one trembling in their darkness. There are places you are about to step into, not because of honor or position, but because you carry something. Those places are lacking a heart that has tasted sorrow, yet remains pure. You will notice that the things that once frightened you no longer form barriers. When the soul is healed, the imagined limits begin to fall away layer by layer, leaving within you the inner spaciousness of one who has finally broken free from invisible chains. You will find yourself doing naturally the things you once hesitated to attempt, not because you suddenly became strong, but because you have discovered that true strength does not come from willpower, but from my presence spreading within you. This confidence is not loud, not boastful. It is steady and quiet like a stream flowing through rocks, unyielding, unstoppable. The strength you now carry is born from stillness, not turbulence. While the world tells you that you must make yourself large to be heard, I am teaching you that the presence of one who knows to whom they belong carries more influence than any shouting. You do not need to try to impress. Simply stand where I place you, and the light within you will reveal itself. No one can hide what shines from the inside, and no darkness can swallow a light set by heaven. When you enter a room, the atmosphere will shift, not because you force it, but because what I have poured into your soul will naturally spread like a pure fragrance that cannot be contained. In the days ahead, you will sense a new boldness, not the boldness that makes you harsh or arrogant, but the steadiness of someone who knows that every decision, every word, and every step is guided by a source far beyond human. Understanding. You will feel this guidance when standing before important choices, and instead of confusion you will feel a gentle inner light opening the way. You do not need to see the entire picture because the light I placed within you is enough to lead you to your next step. What I am forming in you is a kind of authority that does not come from status, talent, or perfection. It is the authority of someone who has learned to listen to divine guidance and to cooperate with it. When you speak, others will sense the weight of truth in your words, not because they are eloquent, but because they arise from a soul touched by me. When you act, others will recognize authenticity. When you walk, you will leave an imprint of peace, not through accomplishments, but through presence. And you will understand that what you carry cannot be copied or borrowed, because it does not originate from personal effort. It flows from my presence within you. You will be surprised to realize that you have entered a level of spiritual maturity you did not even know you were approaching. Your old reactions no longer control you. Your former fears no longer paralyze you. Your old memories no longer bind your steps. You will find yourself steady when facing rejection, calm before the unexpected, and gentle in situations others consider overwhelming. This is not numbness. It is the certainty of a soul that has learned to lean on the eternal rather than the unstable. Throughout this process, you will notice that those who once misunderstood you will begin to view you with a respect they cannot resist, not because you changed to please them, but because the light within you makes it impossible for them not to acknowledge that something in you has shifted. Those who underestimated you will see you standing in new strength. Those who doubted you will see you walking unbound, not so that you may triumph over them, but so that you may understand this truth: when I lift someone, nothing can pull them down. As you continue deeper into this new chapter, you will feel something very clear. You are no longer following circumstances. Circumstances are unfolding according to your steps. Wherever you walk, guidance will emerge. Whatever you touch, life will flow. Whatever you speak, peace will follow. Not because you hold power, but because I am moving through you, like a vessel shaped and refined. I have waited a long time to bring you to this moment, and now as you stand between what was and what is to come, know this: you do not need to prove yourself. You only need to keep walking with the deep trust that you are exactly where I want you to be, at the exact time I appointed, in the exact version of yourself I have refined through many seasons. Everything I placed within you has purpose, and every step you take now holds a significance that stretches beyond what you can see. My beloved child, as you step further into the new awareness I am unveiling, you will feel your soul shifting in ways no longer dependent on circumstances, because a new life force is forming from within, quiet as breath, but powerful as an underground stream capable of softening stone. You will realize that you no longer respond to life through old mechanisms, because the wounds that once made you defensive have now become places where light enters and allows your mind to see clearly the true nature of things. This is the moment when the deepest part of your soul, the part long hidden beneath years of dimness, begins to rise and claim its place as a steady echo of the purpose I ordained for you before you came into being. My beloved child, you will come to realize that this transformation does not begin with noise or dramatic events, but with a quiet stirring, an inner widening of the mind that removes the fear of things that once made you retreat. The old hesitations fall away without effort, like leaves dropping when their season is over, making room for new buds preparing to emerge. You will begin to say things you once lacked the courage to speak, not because you have suddenly become reckless, but because you know these words rise from the deepest place within you, the place I have touched, healed, and filled with wisdom, beyond ordinary understanding. And when you act, you will feel a gentle flow as though an invisible hand is guiding your steps, not forcefully, but clearly enough for you to sense my presence and know you cannot go astray while I am leading. What marks this season is not what happens around you, but what grows within you. You will no longer be drawn to shallow things, nor shaken by words that merely scratch the surface. Your heart will discern what is real from what is false, what comes from heaven from what is born of flattery. You will find yourself drifting away from relationships that do not nourish your soul, not out of coldness, but because your eyes have been opened to the value of the peace I have placed within you. Once peace becomes your new foundation, anything that does not align with it will simply fall away. You do not need to push anyone out of your life. Simply stand where you belong, and whatever is not meant for you will fall off like dust sliding from a rooftop in the rain. There will be days when you sense the movement of heaven as a warm breath surrounding your soul, stirring within you something indescribable, a certainty without evidence, a peace that requires no approval. You will know you are standing on the threshold of what I have long prepared, and the anxieties that once haunted you will have no place to cling. Not because every question has been answered, but because you know I am holding your hand, and nothing I begin can ever remain unfinished. This season requires you to stand firm, not because you are being challenged, but because your steadiness is the signal that what belongs to you will recognize you and come. When your soul is stable, the doors meant for you will open as naturally as the sun rises without being asked. The people you need will enter your life without you chasing them. The right circumstances will align themselves by the order of heaven, for everything under my orchestration moves with its own rhythm, never rushed, never chaotic, always certain and always on time. You once believed your life needed to be explained step by step, but you are learning that divine guidance does not appear as a complete map. It appears as light, illuminating only the next few steps. Where you walk, the light will follow. When you move, the path will unfold. When you pause to listen, my voice will grow clearer. This season does not ask you to run. It asks you to walk with me, so that each step you take is not mere movement of the body, but the agreement of your soul with the plan I am unfolding. As you go deeper into your true essence, you will feel a sacred separation, not loneliness, but distinction, reserved for those I call apart. You will no longer fit into shallow conversations, for your soul cannot tolerate emptiness. You will no longer remain in places that drain you, for you carry life within you. You will no longer be drawn to distractions that once consumed your attention. This is not a personality shift, but the clarity of someone who has walked beside darkness and received true light. Everything I am forming in you is not meant to place you on a lofty hill alone, but to make you a bearer of fire, the fire that warms you first and then spreads naturally to others, without force, without show. When that fire burns at the right rhythm, you will become a steady hand for the trembling, a point of direction for the lost, an encouragement for the weary. You will not need to speak much, for true light speaks on its own. And as you look back on your journey, you will suddenly understand that nothing was wasted. Every rough path, every lonely night, every moment you wanted to give up, each one helped shape a soul deep enough, strong enough, soft enough, and true enough for me to entrust with what others could not carry. Not because you are greater, but because your soul learned how to rise from the lowest places, and one who knows how to rise from the depths cannot be easily brought down again. The opening has begun. The atmosphere around you is shifting. Opportunities that once could not find you are now moving toward you. Doors that remained closed, not out of rejection, but out of timing, are beginning to open quietly, as though someone inside is unlatching them. You are stepping into a season where your steadiness will create a clear distinction between what belongs to you and what does not. Do not fear your growth. Do not hesitate to step forward. Do not question the change rising within you. Everything unfolding has divine order, neither early nor late, but precisely at the moment heaven has appointed. You have walked long enough in darkness to cherish light. You have endured enough to understand the hearts of others, You have waited long enough to value what I am about to place into your hands. Stand tall, take a deep breath, and step into the life I have prepared one, not written by fear, but by confidence, not guided by doubt, but by revelation, not upheld by your strength, but by the power flowing through you. My beloved child, when your soul has matured enough to stand firmly in its own rising, when your mind is no longer swayed by old voices, that is when I begin opening paths before you that you never knew existed. These paths do not reveal themselves through natural sight or loud displays, but unfold in a different way, quietly, deeply, steadily, as though they have always been there waiting for your heart to become still enough to see them. This is the season in which I will lead you into places your feet have never touched, yet your soul has long recognized. You will no longer be confined by limitations created by circumstance or fear, for you are entering a time of sacred guidance where each of your steps will be directed not by what the eyes see, but by what I whisper into the deepest chamber of your being. My beloved child, you will soon realize right from the first days of stepping into this season that there will still be moments when you do not fully understand where you are going, yet strangely, you will feel a quiet peace as though someone has gone ahead of you to prepare everything. This peace does not come from certainty about the outcome, but from trusting the hand that leads you. I do not give you a detailed map of the entire journey, nor do I show you all that awaits, for if you saw everything at once, you would be overwhelmed and lose the posture of dependence on me. Instead, I open the path little by little, just enough for you to take the next step, just enough to keep you moving, just enough to assure you that you are headed in the right direction. This season does not require you to see far. It requires you to go deep, deep in trust, deep in sensitivity, deep in the awareness of my presence flowing into you. You will find that the choices you once never dared to consider now appear with clarity, as though a gentle stream of light is drawing your inner being toward them. Decisions that once filled you with hesitation will become light, for you are no longer measuring them by fear, but by the awareness that I am walking with you in every movement. You are not required to understand everything. You are simply invited to be attentive to the guidance that comes from above. I will bring you the signs you need not to soothe anxiety, but to teach your soul how to recognize my voice even on the quietest of days. There will be moments when you sit before a crossroads with no idea which direction is right, yet if you keep your heart in stillness, you will sense a subtle leaning within a quiet pull toward the way your soul knows comes from me, though no words can explain it. My guidance is not the thunderous shaking of the earth, but the gentle breeze that causes a branch to lean toward the light. That is how I lead those who know how to listen. I do not want you running after the world's display. I want you to learn the rhythm of heaven, even in the whisper. There are things I am doing behind the scenes of your life that will surprise even you when they unfold. I am leading you into divine appointments, into circumstances where your presence will unexpectedly become the answer someone has been searching for. You once believed you had nothing special to offer, yet that very humility is what makes you the perfect vessel. I will use the quietness in you to open doors others spend a lifetime trying to push through. Not because you are strong, but because you are not relying on your own strength. I will lift you in stillness, and those who watch you will never be able to explain what is happening. For what I do for you is not meant to be explained, it is meant to be revealed. This new journey will require one thing from you, the ability to keep walking even without having all the information. Not because I want you to remain in the dark, but because the uncertainty itself is where faith is nourished. If you saw the entire road ahead, you would no longer need me, and that is not my intent for you. I want you to know that I lead you not through convenience, but through the certainty of my presence. Even when you do not understand, I do. Even when you cannot see, I see everything. What you need right now is not explanations, it is companionship. You are no longer walking alone. The days when you had to hold yourself up by your own strength are over. In this season, my angels will go before you, smoothing out the rough places the enemy has set to hinder your steps. I will place gentle reminders in your heart, intuitive nudges you cannot rationalize, deep knowing that will cause you to step away from traps before they ever form. I will put the right words on your lips at the right time so you know when to speak and when to remain silent. You do not have to navigate this season by your own ability. You simply need to stay attentive to my presence. My child, you will begin to notice that the atmosphere around you is changing. Places that once felt heavy will become unfamiliar. Relationships that no longer resonate with your spirit will drift away, not because you are careless, but because the light within you no longer fits the narrow spaces of old seasons. You will find yourself being led into wider environments where your spirit is expanded and where you will meet those who carry the same frequency I have prepared for you. Do not be surprised when you no longer fit into what once felt familiar. This is not loss, it is alignment. My beloved child, as you continue walking this journey, you will begin to understand that my guidance is never forceful. It is subtle, gentle, steady, and deeply persuasive, not because I want you to remain in the dark, but because the uncertainty itself is where faith is nourished. If you saw the entire road ahead, you would no longer need me, and that is not my intent for you. I want you to know that I lead you not through convenience, but through the certainty of my presence. Even when you do not understand, I do. Even when you cannot see, I see everything. What you need right now is not explanations, it is companionship. You are no longer walking alone. I do not lead you into places where you are unprepared. I shape you before I open any door. I do not throw you into the deep. I teach you how to walk on the water by faith. And I never leave you alone in any forward step. Every time you move ahead, I go with you, surrounding the atmosphere of your soul with my presence that does not depart. You will begin to see that I do not guide you with urgent commands, but with a presence that is always here, always available, always waiting for you to turn toward me whenever you pause to listen. And this presence will become the most steadfast light guiding you through turns the mind cannot understand, but the soul recognizes with clarity. You will grow accustomed to the way I guide through peace, for peace is the first language of heaven. Whenever you stand before a decision, if a quiet peace descends into your heart, you may know that I am tilting you toward the right way. Conversely, if a subtle disturbance arises within you, even when the circumstances seem logical, you must know that it is not the path I have chosen for you. I never lead you through agitation, and I never guide through fear. I guide through deep stillness, like the breath of early morning before the sun awakens, and that stillness will become the lamp that reveals the path truly belonging to your journey. You will no longer need to analyze everything down to the smallest detail as you once did. You will no longer be pulled in multiple directions, as you were when fear of making mistakes controlled your steps. Instead, you will feel an inner current, gentle yet firm, helping you understand that you are not choosing alone. I am choosing with you by inclining your heart toward what I have already ordained. Divine guidance works this way, not imposing, not restricting, but irresistibly drawing you with the assurance of heaven. I will not only guide you through new paths, but also teach you to see the world through a different lens, the lens of one who has risen above fear and no longer evaluates life through insecurity. You will begin to notice things you once overlooked because your mind was clouded by doubt. You will recognize opportunities that appeared before, but you could not seize because you thought you were unworthy. But now, as your soul expands, you will see them in new light. What once intimidated you will now become something you feel invited toward. What once made you retreat will now become something you feel propelled to approach. When you view life through divine illumination, It stops looking like a series of struggles and begins looking like a journey of discovery and growth. My child, in this season, I will teach you to recognize my footprints not only in grand moments, but also in the smallest details, in seemingly accidental encounters, in words. Someone speaks that suddenly touch your soul in an idea that appears while you sit quietly in a coincidence so precise it could never be random. All these things are ways I communicate with you, like a father leaving markers along a path so the child knows they are going the right way. You will begin to understand that nothing is random, nothing meaningless, no moment wasted. As you walk under this guidance, you will feel as though your hand is being held through every stretch of the road, and you will realize that I have been beside you all along. You are simply now ready to perceive it. Divine guidance does not always lead you to easy places. Sometimes I will lead you into spaces that temporarily confuse you, but your heart will remain at peace, and that peace will be the sign that you are not on the wrong path. You will no longer determine what is right based on convenience as you once did. You will understand that sometimes I place you in challenging environments to reveal the strength I have deposited in you, or to refine you through circumstances no one else could endure. You will see clearly that my guidance does not always lead you to comfort, but it always leads you to the place where you need to be in order to mature and move deeper into my design. You will also notice that in this season, my silence will no longer frighten you. In the past, when I grew silent, you thought I had withdrawn or grown disappointed. But now you will understand that silence is sometimes the sign that everything is ready, and I am waiting for you to step forward with the confidence forged through learning to hear me in the quiet. Sacred silence is not emptiness. It is heaven's method of communication, where I allow you to practice the faith that has grown inside you. Silence is not absence. Silence is support, an invisible hand only a mature soul can recognize. What once confused you will lose its grip. What once angered you will fade like a distant echo. What once exhausted you will no longer touch the center of your being. Not because life becomes easier, but because you have risen to a different frequency, the frequency of one who knows they are heard, seen, and guided by a divine hand. And when your soul stands at that frequency, the world no longer has the power to unsettle you as before. My guidance for you is not merely to lead you to a new place, but to shape you into someone who can carry my light into every place you are sent. You are not only a follower, you will become a guide for those wandering in obscurity, a resting place, for those uncertain of direction, a living reflection of divine guidance in a world overwhelmed by noise. You do not need to strive to become this. The natural maturity of your soul under my light will cause you to radiate it effortlessly. My beloved child, here is what I whisper into your heart. You are not merely entering a new season, you are being accompanied by the very one who created you. There is not a single step you take that I do not know, not a single breath you breathe that I do not see, not a single thought you ponder that I do not understand to its very root. And when you know that you are being led by the one who knows you more deeply than you know yourself, you will walk with a peace no one can steal. Everything in your life, from the smallest shifts to the situations that once felt tangled beyond reasoning, is now aligning into a new rhythm, a rhythm no longer unstable or unpredictable, but steady, clear, and full of meaning. This rhythm is not formed by perfect circumstances outside of you, but by the inner maturity I have patiently cultivated within you through every season, every trial, every moment you fell and rose again, every time you thought you were abandoned, but in truth were lifted by my hand in ways no one could see. You will come to realize that this shaping is not only making you stronger, but enabling you to discern with startling clarity what belongs to you and what does not. In the past, you were easily drawn by appearances, easily pulled by the desire to be accepted, easily influenced by others' expectations or by vague fears rooted in old wounds. But now, as your soul is anchored on solid ground, these things no longer govern you. You see the nature of all things, not through the sharpness of intellect, but through the insight formed in the silent places where I led you, where only darkness and quiet remained. In that quiet, the eyes of your spirit opened and you learned what you could not see before, that you are not meant to fit with everyone, not meant to blend into every environment, not meant to hold on to everything. You are meant to hold only what I place in your hands and release whatever I do not permit to continue into the next chapter. A crucial part of this shaping is learning to distinguish my movement from all other movements. You will see that there are things that stir your emotions but do not come from me because my voice never leads to chaos. There are things that make you restless but do not originate from me because I never guide through urgency or pressure. I guide through certainty, through peace, through a gentle stream of light that inclines your inner being toward the right direction without argument or force. This discernment is not a skill. It is the fruit of a soul that has matured through many seasons of trusting what cannot be seen. And when you know what is from me and what is not, you will walk without fear of making mistakes, for the only mistake is to walk without asking me. But when you move under my guidance, every step becomes right in heaven's way. You will also recognize that the very things which once caused your deepest wounds have become the sources of your greatest strength. Not strength that hardens or numbs, but strength that allows you to stand in the midst of challenges without breaking as you once did, because you now know that I am within the challenge with you. Your old pain, instead of being a chain, has become the foundation of a wisdom that cannot be taken from you, and that wisdom will keep you from returning to cycles you once could not escape. You will see yourself thinking differently, responding differently, choosing differently, not because you are trying, but because your soul has been reshaped and cannot return to its old form. During this shaping, you will be brought into a sacred solitude, not loneliness, but separation for preparation. You will find yourself speaking less, arguing less, explaining less, because your soul understands that not everyone is able to comprehend what heaven is doing within you. This separation is not punishment. It is armor shielding you from voices that could cloud the guidance you now receive. I am placing you in a holy space where your thoughts are not disrupted by what is trivial. It is here that I will impart new instructions, new perceptions, new revelations, things your heart can only receive when it is not crowded by human noise. And as you remain in this sacred space, you will find yourself becoming lighter, sharper, and ready to receive something greater. There is something extraordinary about this season. Even when things around you shift or tremble, you remain steady within, as though standing inside a sphere, untouched by the turbulence of the world. This steadiness is not pride, it is dwelling. And when you dwell in me, no circumstance can shake you, for you know that everything is held in the hands of the one who guides your soul. This dwelling is the sign that you are ready to ascend to a new level 1, where you not only follow guidance, but also become a bearer of it. When you look back, you will see that I did not merely guide you, I elevated your vision so you could understand why I led you through long years of trial. Not one tear was wasted, not one setback meaningless, not one heartbreak unnecessary. All of it has become structural support, so you can carry the glory I am placing upon you without being crushed by it. Your maturity is not accidental. It is the result of intentional guidance, careful preparation, and my persistent love for you. Now you are standing at the threshold between guidance and breakthrough. This is the moment when you are not only being led, you are being sent. Not only being lifted, you are being positioned to carry out what I wrote for you since before time began. Not only being illuminated, you are becoming the one who carries light. and you will soon see that everything I prepared for this breakthrough has been hidden within you all along, waiting for this very moment to be revealed. My beloved child, as you step into this new phase, you will begin to feel a powerful yet gentle shift, like a holy wind, clearing a path within your spirit. This transformation does not arrive like thunder or the loud signs you once expected, but like an inner dawn that pushes away the night without making a sound. It is the sign of a new sacred season in which you no longer live by reacting to circumstances, but by following the direct leading of the one who placed a divine calling deep within your soul. This is the chapter where I move you from being merely one who is guided to one who carries a mandate. There is something extraordinary about this season. Even when things around you shift or tremble, you remain steady within, as though standing inside a sphere untouched by the turbulence of the world. This steadiness is not pride, it is dwelling. And when you dwell in me, no circumstance can shake you, for you know that everything is held in the hands of the one who guides your soul. No longer only a seeker of light, but a keeper of the light for those still walking through darkness. You will recognize this through subtle shifts in your thoughts and emotions. Things that once confused you will become clear, and things that once left you tangled will gather into focus with a single glance. You will no longer be pulled by shallow thoughts or fears that surrounded you for many years. Not because you have become wiser on your own, but because my light is shining into the places once hidden inside you. My child, what I am doing in you now is like what I once did with Abraham when I called him to leave his homeland and go to a land he had never known. I did not give him a map, I gave him a word. I did not show him the entire road. I told him to step forward, and at each step I revealed what was already prepared. Likewise, you do not need to see the whole picture. You will see yourself thinking differently, responding differently, choosing differently, not because you are trying, but because your soul has been reshaped and cannot return to its old form. During this shaping, you will be brought into a sacred solitude, not loneliness, but separation for preparation. You will find yourself speaking less, arguing less, explaining less, because your soul understands that not everyone is able to comprehend what heaven is doing within you. No longer a season where you merely stand and endure the opposing winds, but a season where you stand and command the winds through declarations born from refined faith. This authority is not harsh or domineering, but a quiet confidence, the confidence that comes from knowing whom you belong to. You belong to the one whose single word can calm the sea. You belong to the one whose garment carries healing. You belong to the one who opens doors no power can shut. This belonging is what makes you strong, without boasting, humble, without being defeated, peaceful, without being weak. This transformation is not for your benefit alone. I am preparing you to become a pillar for those longing for clarity, for those struggling through the very trials you once endured. You will not lift them with theories. You will lift them with what you have lived, what you have learned, what you have overcome. The years you thought were wasted will become your most powerful testimony, for nothing touches a hurting soul like the voice of one who has suffered and risen again. What I have planted in you is not only meant to nourish your own soul, but to sustain the souls of those you will meet along the way. You will carry a flame you once thought was only enough for your own path, but truly I have enlarged it to illuminate others who are lost. What you need is readiness. Readiness to follow the voice rising within your heart, even when you cannot yet see everything I am orchestrating. You do not need to know every detail. You only need to trust that I do. And when you trust, every step you take becomes a meeting point where heaven and earth touch. In this new chapter, I am leading you into a depth of authority you have never walked in before. And when you understand this, you will stop comparing, stop worrying, stop rushing. You will walk in your own rhythm, the divine rhythm I set for you, one that does not depend on anyone, does not follow anyone's pace, and cannot be hindered by any force on earth. You will also feel something extraordinary. Your prayers will begin to carry a different weight. No longer fragile words born from desperation, but declarations flowing from a matured faith. You will no longer pray as one who fears. You will pray as one who knows they are loved. You will no longer speak to me as a stranger at the door, but as a child entering a familiar home. And from that sacred place, your prayers will begin to shift circumstances. Not because you are powerful, but because you are speaking according to heaven's intention. You will see delays break. You will see tangled situations dissolve. You will see doors open that no human hand can shut. This is the season where you no longer pray to survive, you pray to release, my beloved child. All of this is only the beginning of the great chapter I am preparing for you. I want you to know that your rising will not be a sudden burst or a single dramatic moment, but a continuous journey of unfolding layers of light day by day, week by week, month by month. You will realize that you are being lifted one level at a time, not hurriedly or abruptly, but steadily and powerfully, like a current of flowing water that nothing can stop. You will notice yourself changing in ways you cannot explain, and others will notice it as well. Not because you are trying to prove anything, but because the light within you has become too clear, too radiant, too undeniable to be hidden. You will also notice that I am realigning your relationship with time. In the past, you always felt late behind or out of sync. But now, my child, you will finally understand a profound truth. You have never been late in my timing. Every step, slow or fast, has been exact according to what I ordained. Every delay had a purpose. Every cycle had a lesson. Every detour had a protection. You will come to realize that your time is not held by the world but by heaven. My beloved child, you will slowly come to understand that the mission I place upon your life is not an abstract idea or a lofty slogan, but a living current flowing through every word you speak, every act you perform, every way you treat people around you. You do not need to stand on a stage or hold a microphone to be called one who carries a mission. As long as you walk in obedience, wherever you step, the atmosphere will shift. What I place upon you is not a burden to become something grand in the eyes of the world, but an invitation to live fully in the identity I have woven into you since the beginning. When you live true to what I speak over you, you are already fulfilling your mission, even if no sign bears your name, even if no applause rises in your honor. You will gradually see that the sphere of influence I give you is not limited to spiritual settings or places labeled sacred. This is the moment you step into the chapter I wrote long ago for your soul, the chapter of rising, the chapter of assignment, the chapter of divine authority. Do not worry about the next step. I will show it. Do not fear the new challenges. I will walk with you. Do not doubt your ability. I have prepared you for this since before you could even name the dreams forming inside you. When you accept that your simple everyday life is itself an altar, and that every act of love is an offering, you will understand that your spiritual influence is not measured by titles or structures, but by the depth of love and faithfulness you are willing to give. I have placed within you treasures you do not always recognize. I have given you the ability to listen genuinely, eyes that see beneath the surface into hidden wounds, intuition to sense who is weary, who is empty, who needs a small but timely word. Do not consider these things ordinary, for in my kingdom, what seems small often becomes the jewels set into the crown of glory. Some are entrusted with grand works, others with quiet conversations. But when all are offered to me, I use them equally to assemble the great mosaic of grace across the earth. You are not called to compare your work with another's, but to carry the unique hue I have woven into your soul, for only you can bear it in the way I intended. And you will understand this more clearly when I begin to open unexpected encounters. Some people will step into your life at moments you did not anticipate, bringing stories that seem unrelated to you, yet they will reflect the very path you have walked. As you listen, you will recognize familiar wounds, fears that once haunted you, questions that once kept you awake. And in that moment you will understand why I allowed your difficult seasons not to punish you, but so you could someday stand before others gentle and genuine and speak, not from theory, but from lived truth, that one can be broken and still, to be healed, lost, and still be found, convinced that everything is over, yet still be led into a new chapter. Your presence, along with the story you carry, will become part of the redemption I am working in their lives. Be careful, my child, never underestimate a word spoken at the right time. A sentence you offer spontaneously may become the cord that pulls someone back from the edge of despair. One look free of judgment can rescue a heart from rejection. One well-placed embrace can shatter the wall someone has built around themselves for years. I will use every detail, every gesture, every reaction of yours to reveal my heart to others, if you allow me to guide you. Your mission is not a burden. It is the privilege of being a vessel, knowing that your life is not drifting meaninglessly, but is contributing every day, no matter how ordinary, to a story far greater than yourself. There were seasons when you allowed the voices of others to define you, when their judgments weakened your spirit, when comparisons stole the joy of doing the small things that were right in my sight. The enemy's work has always been to convince you that your part is insignificant, your voice weightless, your presence without impact. But today I tell you, anywhere I place you, that place is no longer empty. You are not called to compare your work with another's, but to carry the unique hue I have woven into your soul, for only you can bear it in the way I intended. And you will understand this more clearly when I begin to open unexpected encounters. Some people will step into your life at moments you did not anticipate, bringing stories that seem unrelated to you, yet they will reflect the very path you have walked. I call you my child, to take an even deeper step, not only to recognize that you carry influence, but to collaborate with me to expand it in a sacred way, not through ambition. Expansion does not mean fame, visibility, or the attention of crowds. Expansion means allowing love, wisdom, and peace within you to reach farther, to touch those you once could not reach. I can take a single sentence you write, a small encouragement you give, a quiet act of kindness, and breathe upon it so that it travels farther than you ever imagined. Your work is simply to sow faithfully. Mine is to cause the seed to flourish in the place I choose. When you understand this, you will no longer worry about whether you are impressive or exceptional. You will be free to do what is right with a peaceful heart. When you walk into a room with the awareness that I am within you, the atmosphere is already transformed even before you say a word. If you simply keep the peace I have given you, refusing to let bitterness, envy, or inferiority contaminate your heart, you will protect your sphere of influence from corruption. Do not allow toxic words to reshape how you see yourself, for I have named you with a title stronger than any voice. You are the one who is loved. The years you thought were wasted will become your most powerful testimony, for nothing touches a hurting soul like the voice of one who has suffered and risen again. What I have planted in you is not only meant to nourish your own soul, but to sustain the souls of those you will meet along the way. You will carry a flame you once thought was only enough for your own path, but truly I have enlarged it to illuminate others who are lost. There are people who plunge into serving until they are empty, and when they are empty, they become bitter, skeptical, and closed off. I do not want that for you. I want you to walk in holy balance, knowing when to stop, when to continue, when to speak, when to remain silent, when to hold someone close, and when to let them walk the path I have designed for them. When you move in that rhythm, your mission will no longer feel like a burden, but like a river flowing through you, refreshing you, first, then pouring out to others. And when that happens, you will experience something miraculous. The more you give, the fuller you will feel. because you are no longer drawing from your limited reservoir, but opening yourself so that my river may flow through you. You are not the source. You are the vessel. The duty of a vessel is not to produce water, but to remain in the right place, to keep itself open, to stay clean within, and to be ready to be filled. When you understand this, the weight falls off your shoulders. All you need to do is remain in my hands. I will take care of everything else. And when others come to drink from your life, they will not praise the vessel, they will praise the water. When you walk into a room with the awareness that I am within you, the atmosphere is already transformed even before you say a word. If you simply keep the peace I have given you, refusing to let bitterness, envy, or inferiority contaminate your heart, you will protect your sphere of influence from corruption. Do not allow toxic words to reshape how you see yourself, for I have named you with a title stronger than any voice. You are the one who is loved. There are people who plunge into serving until they are empty, and when they are empty, they become bitter, skeptical, and closed off. I do not want that for you. I want you to walk in holy balance, knowing when to stop, when to continue, when to speak, when to remain silent, when to hold someone close, and when to let them walk the path I have designed for them. And you must learn something else of great importance to sustain your spiritual influence. You must return often to the source. You cannot give endlessly without returning to the well. You cannot comfort others if you do not let me comfort you. You cannot speak life if you do not sit in stillness to hear me breathe life into your dry places. I do not call you to be a spiritual hero, always strong, always composed, always energized. I call you to be a child who knows they need their father. My beloved child, I want you to know that what is happening within your soul right now is not merely an expansion of influence or a refining of your heart. It is a transformation of the very way you walk in this world. This shift is happening inside long before it is revealed outside, like roots growing deep beneath the soil before fresh leaves burst forth. I am bringing you into a phase where every step you take carries spiritual weight, for these are no longer the steps of someone reacting to life, but of someone who moves with intention, shaped by the wisdom I have placed within you. You will recognize this when you begin to see the world with eyes no longer covered by old fears. There are fears that once made you shrink back, fears that kept you standing outside doors you were meant to walk through long ago. But now, as my light shines, you will see those fears for what they truly are, shadows that only survive in the dark. When touched by light, they vanish like morning mist. You will find yourself no longer avoiding heavy responsibilities, no longer hesitating before sudden opportunities, no longer clinging to small things just because you fear loss. Instead, you will begin to move forward with the certainty of one who knows that every step is upheld by strength from the eternal realm. Do not be surprised if in this season I allow you to hear new callings. They may not come as sounds or visions, but as inner urgings you cannot ignore. A simple idea may suddenly expand within you, as if an unseen hand is engraving it on your heart. A path you never considered may suddenly become clear. A decision you once avoided may now carry a deep and unusual peace. These are the signs of my guidance opening at a higher level. Before I guided you with reassurance to steady you in the storm, now I guide you with propulsion to move you into greater purpose. True growth does not come from knowing much, but from recognizing the right voice. You may hear 100 voices, read 1,000 stories, or walk through countless experiences, but if you cannot discern my voice, you will be tossed between directions without substance. Yet, my child, my voice never hides from those who seek with humility. I speak through peace. I call you my child to take an even deeper step, not only to recognize that you carry influence, but to collaborate with me to expand it in a sacred way, not through ambition. Expansion does not mean fame, visibility, or the attention of crowds. Expansion means allowing love, wisdom, and peace within you to reach farther to touch those you once could not reach. My beloved child, I want you to know that what is happening within your soul right now is not merely an expansion of influence or a refining of your heart. It is a transformation of the very way you walk in this world. This shift is happening inside long before it is revealed outside, like roots growing deep beneath the soil before fresh leaves burst forth. I lead through clarity. I restrain through the weight that comes upon your spirit. I confirm through small but consistent signs. If you keep your heart close to mine, you will not be lost. For I am not only the one who shows the way, I am the one who walks with you, ahead of you and behind you. From now on, you will see clear changes in how you face challenges. The challenges will not disappear, but your strength within them will be completely different. And sometimes it is how I make space for people whose light matches the path ahead of you. In this chapter, the greatest work I am doing is not external but internal. I am moving you from the position of one who waits for miracles to the position of one who lives in miracles. You will no longer seek signs in order to believe, for your very life will become a sign. You will no longer chase affirmation, for your own heart will carry certainty. You will no longer ask to see the path clearly, for you will walk with the confident assurance that if you step, I will open the way. And when you live like this, the sky within you will begin to draw in things you once believed happened only to others, not because you chase them, but because your soul has tuned itself to the frequency of obedience I bless. I am bringing you into a phase where every step you take carries spiritual weight. For these are no longer the steps of someone reacting to life, but of someone who moves with intention, shaped by the wisdom I have placed within you. You will recognize this when you begin to see the world with eyes no longer covered by old fears. There are fears that once made you shrink back, fears that kept you standing outside doors you were meant to walk through long ago. And there will be doors that open because I move you out of situations where you once thought you were being rejected, when in truth I was positioning you for a place that fits you better. One day when you look back, you will know that not a single door closed without purpose, and not a single door opened without preparation. I also want to tell you a sacred truth. The gifts within you will begin to operate in a new way. You will receive insights you did not gain from books. You will speak words that you yourself do not fully understand, yet they will flow at the right time to the right person in the right situation. You will sense the atmosphere of a room shifting when you walk in, not because you are special in yourself, but because I am in you. Not because you are stronger than others, but because your heart has become soft enough for me to use, steady enough for me to trust, and mature enough for me to place weight upon it. What you once considered weakness will become the very place where I display my power. You are no longer a faint shadow of the old season. You have been refined. You have been raised up. You have grown. You are ready. And I, the one who sees to the depths of your soul, declare this: your time is no longer somewhere far in the future. It begins right here at the very moment. You believe that you do not have to wait to become what I have ordained. You need only step into it. Hold tightly to this truth: you do not walk alone. You do not labor in your own strength. You do not open doors with fragile hands. You move within the glorious presence that goes before you, stands beside you, and covers you from behind. You are upheld by a heavenly court moving on your behalf. You are shielded by a love that cannot be dismantled. You are lifted by a purpose that cannot be delayed. My beloved child, I want you to understand that this is no longer merely a phase of preparation or refinement. This is a phase of unveiling, where what I sowed into you in your darkest seasons begins to bloom like flowers opening at dawn. You have walked through years that felt like delay, concealment, and being placed in corners where no one saw you. Yet it was in those hidden places that I laid the foundation so that now you can stand firm under the strong light I am about to shine upon your life. What once existed only in your spirit is about to take form in reality, not as a fragile, flickering hope, but as a clear confirmation that I have been working behind the curtain even when you could not feel me. You will sense this shift as if I were pulling back a heavy curtain that has long covered your destiny, revealing the design I drew beforehand. Things you thought were fleeting wishes will begin to take shape. Impressions you thought were vague feelings will become direction. Words I once whispered in the quiet will now sound like a trumpet proclaiming that the appointed time has come. You will see more clearly the purpose behind every delay, every fall, every lesson learned through tears. For this chapter cannot be placed in the hands of one who has not been refined. It can only be carried by a soul that has learned to stand, no longer blown away by the winds of opinion, no longer shaken by praise or criticism, support or opposition. I will show you why I once allowed you to be cut off from things you thought you needed, not to abandon you, but to free you. You were attached to things I could not carry with you into this chapter of unveiling. Certain relationships, expectations, habits, places, even old dreams no longer fit who you are now. I allowed them to leave because they were blocking you from stepping into your true destiny. And now as you look back, you will see that I have never taken anything without giving in return something better, deeper, more enduring, and more aligned with who you truly are. You thought you were losing. In reality, you were being protected. You thought doors were shutting. In truth, I was leading you to the one door that would open at exactly the time I ordained. I will reveal my will to you more clearly than ever before, not through distant signs or confusing symbols, but through clarity in your mind and peace in your soul. You will feel your heart lean toward things you once did not have the courage to pursue. You will find yourself making decisions that seem beyond your former capacity, yet they will feel light and natural because you are no longer moving from fear, but from the certainty that you are walking with me. What once left you bewildered will become transparent, not because circumstances have changed, but because the light I have placed within you is now strong enough to illuminate the places where you once felt blind. You will begin to see yourself through my lens, not through the lens of old experiences or harsh words you once believed. You will see upon yourself the crown of grace I have long set there, but only now will you truly feel its weight. You will recognize the unshakable dignity I gave you from the very beginning. You will know a strength that is not loud or aggressive, but steady, the strength of one who knows they are loved without condition. This new way of seeing will transform how you walk, how you speak, how you show up, and the atmosphere you carry will be utterly different. This is the moment you realize that unveiling is not something you make happen. It is something I do through you. You do not have to strive to shine. You only need to stand where I place you. The light will shine. Wisdom will flow. Doors will open. For unveiling is not about effort, it is about timing. You will find yourself making decisions that seem beyond your former capacity, yet they will feel light and natural because you are no longer moving from fear, but from the certainty that you are walking with me. What once left you bewildered will become transparent, not because circumstances have changed, but because the light I have placed within you is now strong enough to illuminate the places where you once felt blind. You were not created for mediocrity, and the proof is that even when you tried to blend into the crowd, you remained different in the way you love, the way you think, the way you feel, the way you rise after being broken. I have sown into you things you cannot hide forever, because they bear the imprint of heaven. Some are given wisdom, some are given words, some are given compassion, some are given perseverance. As for you, I have given all of these in just the right measure, so that you may become a healer in the places I send you. You do not need to prove this. You only need to live truthfully from what I have entrusted to you, and glory will reveal itself. My child, I also want you to be ready for something many do not anticipate. Light always attracts attention, and not all attention is pure. But do not let this make you afraid. The light I place within you cannot be extinguished by opposition, cannot be twisted by jealousy, cannot be defeated by petty schemes. Your light comes from me, and anything that comes from me carries the nature of eternity. You do not need to fight using the weapons of this world. You need only stand in my peace. There are battles I will not permit you to fight, because I have already taken them on myself. There are accusations you do not need to answer, because I will vindicate you in due time. There is resistance you do not need to react to, because I will make your very silence a testimony of my protection. Your prayers will be answered more quickly, more clearly, more powerfully. Not because you have reached some higher level, but because you are now walking in step with me. When your rhythm and mine align, intervention flows like breath, no long delay, no heavy doubt, no wrestling in confusion. You ask and I answer. You knock and I open. You seek and I show. For you are standing in the center of my will, and in that place, delay does not exist. Take a moment to look around your soul right now. Do you feel as if your heart is expanding in a new way, not opening to receive more burdens, but opening to welcome lightness? Not opening because you lack, but because you are full. Not opening out of fear, but out of trust. That is the very sign of the revealing chapter. Your heart no longer shrinks like it used to, no longer doubts your own capacity, no longer hesitates when I nudge you forward. You are beginning to stand tall in the very form I created you to be, no longer hunched in fear, no longer bowing in shame, no longer running away in uncertainty. And prepare yourself for astonishment. Not the kind that comes from the world, but the kind that rises when heaven begins to work through you in ways far greater than you ever imagined. I will bring you into rooms you never thought you'd be invited into. I will lead you to places where you once stood on the outside, only wishing you belonged. I will place you before encounters so pivotal that they redirect the trajectory of your life. Not to make you impressive, but to make you useful. Not to make you proud, but to help you understand that you were chosen not because you are flawless, but because you are willing, my beloved child. When the revelation begins to flow from within your soul outward into the world, you will notice that you yourself are becoming a living testimony of heaven's quiet yet powerful movement. You won't need to announce that you've entered a new chapter. Those who come near you will sense it on their own. Confusion will lose its grip, for your soul now knows how to return to me more quickly, how to recognize my voice among 100 others, and how to stand firm in things that once shook you. This chapter of revelation will not only show what I have done within you, but also what I will do through you. Some will feel at ease near you without knowing why. Some will open their hearts and share burdens they have hidden for years, not because you pry or insist, but because their souls recognize you as safe ground, a place where they are not judged, a place where they can rest in ways they didn't know they needed. In this chapter of Revelation, I will begin bringing things hidden in the shadows into the light. Not the shadows in others first, but the corners within yourself that once made you uncomfortable. But do not fear. The light I bring does not accuse, it heals. You will see clearly the things you once buried because you feared facing them. Yet this time they will not wound you as before, because I have softened your soul long enough that when the light touches them, you do not panic, you recognize. And when you allow that light to reach them, the heaviness those memories once carried will dissolve like morning mist receding at sunrise. You will feel lighter, more natural, more free, and your inner atmosphere will become clearer as a result. As the inner light becomes pure, I will begin to cleanse your outer circumstances, not through loud disruptions, but through movements so gentle that if you are not attentive, you might overlook them. Someone who always caused you tension may drift away not because of conflict, but because the rhythm of life separates your paths. An opportunity you once considered important may close, yet your heart no longer trembles the way it once did. A door you knocked on for years may fall silent, yet you feel peace because your soul knows that place no longer belongs to you. None of these are losses. They are the siftings I am doing to bring your life into alignment with the revealing chapter. What I promised you long ago will begin to return this time in forms that seem familiar, yet carry far deeper meaning. A simple word from a stranger may stir your spirit more than long sermons. A scripture you've read dozens of times may suddenly thunder like a fresh decree. A dream you dismissed as random may become the key to unlock something I desire you to understand. I am speaking through every small detail to tell you the old season has closed, the new one has opened, and what I am doing does not require spectacle, because revelation does not need noise, it needs willingness. My child, your unfolding will confuse some people, not because you have done anything wrong, but because light always reveals the true condition of everything around it. Those who walk in sincerity will feel comforted and strengthened near you. But those who rely on masks, manipulation, or pretense will feel unsettled because the light in you disrupts what they can no longer hide. Do not let their reactions cause you to shrink. You were not placed in this revealing chapter to please people. You were placed here to illuminate the purpose I have written over your life. What you once considered weakness will become the very place where I display my power. You are no longer a faint shadow of the old season. You have been refined. You have been raised up. You have grown. You are ready. And I, the one who sees to the depths of your soul, declare this: your time is no longer somewhere far in the future. It begins right here at the very moment. You believe that you do not have to wait to become what I have ordained. You need only step into it. They will be the ones who lift your arms when you are weak, not the ones who push you down when you are tired. In this season, I will bring you to doors no human effort could open. These are not random doors, they are doors that connect you with your true destiny. I have prepared spaces where your name is spoken with honor even before you arrive. I have placed you in the thoughts of people you have never met yet, who will be pivotal in the journey ahead. I have sown your name into the right ears at the right time and into the right hearts that I, myself, have chosen. For revelation is not merely light spreading outward. It is divine connection orchestrated in the unseen realm and then manifested in the visible world in ways you cannot stop and cannot accelerate. This unveiling does not come to make you stand out above others, but to make you aligned with the purpose I ordained. I do not bring you into the light for applause, but so you may shine a truth the world is starving for. I do not elevate you for your own praise, but to give you a wider vantage point to see the souls I desire you to touch. And I never place you in a higher position, so you can stand there alone. I place you there because some things can only be seen from above, only be carried by those who have matured, and only be used rightly by those fully surrendered to me. In this chapter, my child, results will begin to unfold faster, clearer, and more astonishingly than before. Not because you have become perfect, but because your willingness has created room for me to act. When you stand in the position I designed for you, what I do through you becomes as natural as a field blooming in its season, never rushed, never forced, never delayed, simply on time. So keep your heart soft, your steps steady, and your eyes fixed on me. The unveiling will not stop here. It will grow stronger, broader, and more radiant in the next chapter, where I will not only reveal what I have placed within you, but also what I am about to do through you on a much greater scale. My beloved child, pause for a moment and look at how much you have changed. Not a change born from pressure, but a transformation from within, from depths only I have the right to touch. Every trial, every fall and rise, every night when you thought you had been abandoned, all of it has converged into this moment. This is not an ending. This is the opening of a new beginning, built upon the foundation of everything you have walked through. If your heart feels as though it is expanding as you read these words, it is because your soul recognizes that you are stepping into a sky no longer confined as it once was. You will sense clearly how I place the final seal upon all I have prepared for you. What was hidden for years will suddenly magnify so vividly that you cannot ignore it. Insights you once strained to understand will come with ease and clarity. Peace will no longer appear in rare moments. It will become a constant atmosphere resting over your mind. Confusion will lose its grip, for your soul now knows how to return to me more quickly, how to recognize my voice among 100 others, and how to stand firm in things that once shook you. This chapter of Revelation will not only show what I have done within you, but also what I will do through you. You will realize that your influence will reach not only those near you, but also places your feet have never walked, because your words, your choices, and your steps now carry a radiance that extends beyond what you once believed possible. This is growth that cannot be measured by numbers or titles. It is measured by the transformation of those you touch. When they see peace, endurance, kindness, and light in you, they will know you are not walking alone, and that recognition will open their hearts for me to enter their lives. This great unveiling requires one essential thing: steadfastness in the heavenly atmosphere within your soul. This is not the time to chase the noise of the world or seek validation from people. This is the time to hold the frequency I have set in you, a frequency of peace, unity with my will, and unwavering trust. When you maintain that frequency, every door I open will lead you into places untouched by confusion, unhindered by fear, and unshaken by judgment. You have not only been given grace to stand, you have been given authority to advance. Standing protects, advancing opens paths. It is time to move forward without looking back to see whether you are enough. You are enough because I am with you. You are enough because I have empowered you. You are enough because I have prepared you in ways you never realized. Do not let memories of the old season make you doubt your capacity in the new one. No one has the right to conclude your story but me. No accusation, betrayal, or misunderstanding can close the chapter I have written with my own hand. Dreams you thought had died will be revived. Not revived in their former shape, but rebuilt in a mature, deeper, truer form aligned with who you have become. I never let a dream die when it comes from me. I let it rest until you are strong enough to carry it. And now, after refining that dream, is stirring again, asking to live. You will find yourself daring to think bigger, step further, and build what you once feared to imagine, not out of ambition, but from a quiet confidence that you no longer walk alone. In this glorious chapter, I will also give you something no one can take: sharp spiritual discernment. You will clearly see who is sent to lift you and who is sent as a lesson. You will no longer waste strength trying to please those who are not part of your path. You will no longer cling to things I am gently removing from your hands. You will learn the art of releasing without feeling loss, because you understand that everything you place in my hands returns in a better form. This discernment will protect your spirit from unnecessary burdens and help you move faster into the next stage. My child, every promise I have given is being placed into its rightful position. Some promises that seemed forgotten will suddenly appear like scenes that were prepared long ago, waiting for the moment you stepped into them. Some dreams you thought were your imagination were actually reflections of what I had ordained beforehand. Some steps you thought were restarts were actually realignments. Nothing in you is unfinished. Everything is being arranged, like the final piece, fitting perfectly into the puzzle you have been building for years. Before you now stands a wide-open door not one you must break down, but one that opens as a welcome. I did not open it for you to question your worth. I opened it because this is where you belong. When you walk through, you will find a horizon wider than anything you have known. There you will meet those destined to walk with you. You will clearly see who is sent to lift you and who is sent as a lesson. You will no longer waste strength trying to please those who are not part of your path. You will no longer cling to things I am gently removing from your hands. You will learn the art of releasing without feeling loss, because you understand that everything you place in my hands returns in a better form. This discernment will protect your spirit from unnecessary burdens and help you move faster into the next stage. Not merely peace, it is resilience to carry that peace into storms others cannot withstand. What you carry is not just for your fulfillment, it is life you will pour into the world. And now, as the final curtain of this journey closes, place your hand upon your heart and feel this truth: you are loved unchangingly. You are called irrevocably. You are protected with a covering that cannot be pierced. And you are guided by the one who has never failed his word. Move forward with peace, deep trust, and gratitude. For the glorious chapter of your life begins now. Thank you for listening to today's message. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so we may journey together with the living word and build unshakable faith and walk in the boundless love of God. Amen.